Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Midwest Miniature Guys Sunday night chill stream. Hope you all have had a great weekend. Man, it was a rough week last week with some people gone from my day job, but We made it through with me and my coworker, all two of us, and we get to go and do it again for half a week this week while we wait for people to come back from vacations and such. And then I'm going to be taking a small vacation. I'll be off on Friday, which is kind of nice to an extent. I got some home inspections that got to get done. So, anyway, we are going to be painting the Slaad, the green Slaad, finishing it up tonight. And can't wait to get started or back started on this guy. We got quite a bit done on Wednesday. I actually got a lot done on Wednesday. Looks like right now we're gonna be working on some fabrics and such. But anyway, let's go ahead and get off of that crazy brown orangey screen. Hello, hello, hello. How you all doing tonight? Alright, let's do a quick check-in here. Who's all watching tonight? We've got Supa is on. 42 of 1... 420. That's all I'm going to say. 420. All road leads to the farm. Another TV viewer. Ducon Rex. Grafmon, Sophia Fox 21. Grafmon, Sophia Fox. Those two, and another TV viewer, and all road leads to the farm. And 420 have been on. They've been watching now for like a couple weeks in a row. So appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hope you all are enjoying the stream. So here is our lovely green Slaad. So the only thing that we really have left to do is, like I said, these the darker browns. We're going to highlight those up. We're going to do a little bit more on the lighter browns, just real simple stuff. We're going to do the wood for the staff. We're going to highlight up the bone. I'm not going to highlight the bone here. I'm just not going to do that. I like the way that it looks a little dirty and a little, not so much dirty, but just it's worn. Like it's coming out of him, which is pretty cool. We've painted the eyes, but I want to brighten them up a little bit more and then add in the pupils. And then we've got to do the base. So let's go ahead and get started. This hopefully should just take the first hour. So we're going to re-highlight, or re-establish, our basic dirt, which is what we used on like the tunic and loincloth and such. We're going to use our big brush, of course, because there's a lot to it here. Get back into the actual chat so I can see if anybody's talking. There we go. So, as usual, thin that down with a little bit of water. And we're just going to go in like so. A little too thinned out there, that's alright. We can make it work. Because if you remember, on Wednesday, when I painted the basic black, after it was dry, I went through and I hit it with some Agrexel Earth Shade to darken it. So now we're re-highlighting, or re-establishing, I should say, the brown, so that we can start the highlighting process. But we got some nice deep shadows. Sorry, my finger's in the way. Excuse me. Okay, so we've got that reestablished, and it's dry already because acrylic paint dries pretty quick. So we're going to grab our earth brown, and we wanted to keep this a darker brown anyway, so this will be actually our highlight. Just a brush full of water here. And then just doing a quick little stripe down the back here to give those folds a little bit of a highlight, like so. just like that. Alright, we'll go ahead and do the staff. For the staff we're using shield brown and driftwood brown. Because why not? Still using the big brush here. Even though this isn't going to be a dry brush per se, we're not using a whole lot. There's not a lot of water in my brush. Just enough. Actually, there's quite a bit of water in my brush, but we're not going to take some out here. We're going to flatten the brush down a little bit, and we're just going to go over the raised sections like so. Kind of using the side of the brush. So there it is with the shield brown on it. Now we're going to go to the driftwood brown. Guess I'm going to dry that off just a little bit. I don't want it to be that flowy, but I don't want it to be chalky either. Alright, and there is the shield brown. That's all done. So now I've got the aged bone. We're going to go back and we're going to reestablish that because that's what we used as our base color for the bone work. And then we're going to do a polished bone. I'm not going to do a whole lot because I like kind of the dinginess of the bone, but I do want to highlight up a few areas. While not taking away, hopefully not taking away too much of the brown effect. Actually, I think I'm going to use a little bit smaller brush here. Alright, so we're going to do the teeth here. Around the eyes, yeah, you can see that's starting to pop more. I like that. Yeah, yeah, I like that a lot better. So I got this real nice kind of flat space right here. So we're just going to take our brush and just lightly feather in this color, like so. A little bit here, we're going to get the teeth. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Alright, now we remove our polished bone. We'll do kind of the same thing. And once again, we'll go back to the teeth here. And just the top parts. Leaving the color down in here. Go over just the top of the eye sockets. Top of the nose. Alright, and there is our bones. Like I said, I'm going to leave these alone. I like the way those look. I'm going to grab a little bit more black, though, because it looks like some of it's kind of rubbed off. Not sure exactly how, but it has. I'm just going to grab a little pure black here. Not a lot. Fix some of the teeth here. Alright, so I've got some of this Flash Gets yellow. I think that's probably the brightest yellow I have. We're going to paint the eyes with this, or repaint the eyes. I use some of the contrast yellow, the Yandan yellow for that. Now I'm going to use the Flash Gets as we get it brighter here. Nice bright yellow. There we go. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the leather brown here, and I'm going to go over the wrappings and other belts and such with this. So for this section right here, I'm just using the side of my brush. I'm going over the top here, like so. Leaving that nice dark spot in there. I'm not going to do with much with the wraps, I think. I'm going to leave those the same, but I'm going to work a little bit more on the leather bits here. These up to snuff. Alright, I'm going to go with tan leather here. Alright, not much left to do on this guy. Got a couple of little metal pieces to do. So I'm going to grab some true silver. Just a dot, like literally a dot. So I don't even need that much probably, but there's a couple little circlets here that are holding the pouch to the shoulder harness. There we go. It's like literally like right here. That's it. Those two little spots right there. Right here. And right there. Done. Alright, now I need... So what we're going to do here is we're going to do the eyes. So what they look like is there's a dot in the center. Followed by two lines. Lead out like that. And we'll let that dry. Take a little bit of this bone color here. Mix it together with a little bit of black. So I was looking in these kind of rocks or something like that that's on his belt, or a little kind of a little bit of gray to them with a little bit of a white dot on them for some shine. So we're just gonna do it like that. Alright, we're gonna grab some dragon white here. And our size 0 brush. Oh, got some brown in it. Try it again. We're just going to put dot white there, dot white there. Alright, so we are done with the painting on the figure. Now we're just going to do the base. Like I said, we almost got it to an hour, so that's pretty good. And we're going to use some sterling mud here. Do I have it open one? I do. I'm going to open one here. And I need... where's my... where did my other Sculpey tool run off to? Oh, there it is. It's hiding behind the other one. So we're going to grab our Sculpey tool. We're going to mix... oh, jeez. There is very little of this left here. So this is the sterling mud. It is a technical paint. It's got stuff in it. And we're just going to run this underneath the feet. Like so. We're going to use quite a bit of this here. Sorry, I'm trying to look to see if there's any more in here that I can grab before I have to open up that new bottle. Well, I think that's about the end of that bottle, but at least I got the base covered. And that's all that matters. Now, granted, I gotta dry brush the base once it's dry, so it's not completely done yet. But it's mostly done, and that's what counts. Because the base itself, that's easy. This thing is empty. Used it all. Alright, set him aside to dry. Pop. So this is something that I've been wanting to repaint for a while. This is actually one of the very first... As my camera died on me. There we go. This is actually one of the first minis that I painted like 20 some odd years ago. Put together. This is called the Druid Stone. It was sculpted by Sandra Garrity. It is a piece based on a piece of artwork by Keith Parkinson. And we're going to repaint it because this sucks. I don't like it. I didn't like it when I first did it, and I really don't like it now. I don't like the colors that I used. It just needs a really good repaint. Now, granted, what I should do is dunk it in some acetone and re-put it together, basically, because I can see like some spots down here where I should have used some green stuff to kind of form that a little bit better. Down here around the ankles, you can see that. And granted, this is an older Reaper piece where they're still like, getting their pieces put together correctly. But I think if I just do a good, well, that was I think that was the other thing too, is I didn't do a primer coat on this. I think I just started painting it, so it's very gloppy and just not great. I know I can do a better job in that white now. I know I can do a better job on these greens, especially with the techniques that I have now. So we're going to go ahead and start work on this. Hopefully we got enough tack on here that it'll fit. Oh, yep, it should. Ah, that's how tacky that blue stuff is. That's great. So, because of the nature of the colors that I want to use, I'm going to go with a more subdued color. If I can find it. Nope, that's not it. Where's my color? Oh, it's right there. I need to buy some more of this. So first, I'm going to kind of give it a dusting because it's been sitting on my shelf for freaking forever. Wish I had some canned air or something that'd work really, really well. So one nice thing about putting on a gloss coat there, definitely be able to paint right over that. Alright, and you can see like there's a really nice Celtic cross on that stone. I really want to bring that out more. So we're just gonna reprimer this. You probably see that I was heavily into dry brushing. That was the technique that I was big into. I still like dry brushing. Dry brushing is not a crime. Until it is. Until you're just like, dry brush everything. No. There are only certain things that need to be dry brushed. Small Endeavors, hello, first time chatter. What's going on? Thanks for joining us tonight. I just saw your post there. Sorry about that. I'm trying to look up as much as I can. I am going to mute my mic here for just a second because I want to use my hairdryer. It's going good. Hold on just a second. Tornlin the DM, hello, another first time chat. What's going on? I'm doing well. Their Small Endeavors doing pretty well. Busy as usual, just finishing up the, so what we had started on Wednesday night was the green Slaad. So there's that. And then we're going to repaint the Druid Stone. This is an old Reaper miniatures that was sculpted by Sandra Garrity in honor of Keith Parkinson, I think, when he passed. And yeah, so I'm going to repaint it here. I need to get a little bit more primer here on the rocks. Yep, there we go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, if you like mini painting, you've come to the right place. I know there's quite a few mini painters here on Twitch. My name is Tom. I am the Midwest Miniature Guy. I am the only one. Because I got lucky and nobody had this name. I've been painting minis for over 20 years now. And while I am no James Wapple or Dr. Faust or Jen Page or anything like that, I have won some local events. And local competitions. I've gotten the chance to paint for Luke Gygax, which is pretty cool. I did a bunch of their Gary Con minis for the Wounded Warrior Project auctions, charity auctions there at Gary Con. So that was a lot of fun, and that's kind of the claim to fame, sort of. And then, yeah, kind of just painted for just about everybody. I send stuff all over the world. And lately my commissions have been coming a little bit closer to home, which is kind of nice. I can meet people here, kind of halfway points, and get them back to them quick. So that's what the green Slaad is. He's a commission. I've got. Let's see if I can grab it here real quick. The other commission is this guy here. The Dragon King from Kingdom Death. I'm going to go to, I think it's scene 1. Oop. Scene 2. There we go. There's the Dragon King from Kingdom Death. Painted for my buddy Tim. Kind of washed out because of the lights, but he's big. Compared to the Slaad, who's a pretty good size, he's huge. I think my next project, and I've already done the Sworn Brothers of the Night's Watch, but I also picked up some veterans of the Night's Watch. So I think this will be my ad cut me off. Of course it did. But yeah, I'm gonna be painting up some veterans of the Night's Watch. Anyway, here's, if you haven't seen it, here's the Dragon King from Kingdom Death. Nice, Tormund. That's awesome. Yep, I have been. My buddy Chris sent him, posted on his Facebook page that he was getting rid of his resin 3D printer, and I went, I might know a guy, and that guy being me. And he goes, great, it's yours. When do you want to come? When do you want to pick it up? And I was like, yeah. So we're setting up a time for me to go pick up his resin 3D printer that he no longer wants, which means I got to find a place for it down here, and I got to learn how to use it, and I got to learn how to hook it up to my computer to make it work. And I'm not that kind of a guy, which means I need to call up my buddy Ian and say, hey Ian, how do I do this? Because you've got a bunch of these, or I can call up Kyle from Giant Turtle Creations, because he's got a boatload of 3D printers running like 24/7 for his stuff. So I'm like, I just want to buy STLs and print them because I see a bunch of really cool, like terrain. I want to get some of the Asgard Rising Viking houses and terrain and stuff like that, and then paint that up on stream because I think it'd be really cool. But yeah, that's my goal. Nice, saw it on Twitter. Very cool. Thank you. Thanks for following me on Twitter. Appreciate it. You've been painting 15 years. Nice. Um, yeah, I love the hobby. It's a lot of fun. I like being able to paint stuff for people. I like being able to make a little money at it, and kind of feeds the hobby. And that keeps my wife happy too. So it's all good. Oh, I want to grab. Yeah, we'll grab a little. She's an outdoorsy kind of a girl, so we're gonna grab a little tan shadow here. Oh, do you want to see it again? I will show it again here. Hold on just a second. Bam. No problem. There it is. If you want to see better pictures of it, go either to my Facebook page or my Twitter feed, and you can see much better pictures of this. Yeah, I got the fingers for the ribs. Looks killer. Thank you, appreciate it. So yeah, and he didn't want anything special on the base, so I just kind of dry brushed some reddish brown on there. But I was trying to make him look. I went with the same colors as a figure that I guess this figure transforms into the Dragon King, which is this guy here. And I'm going to go back to this. So I guess this guy transforms into the Dragon King in the game, as far as I'm aware. So I went with the same colors that I used on him on the Dragon King, and then the same bronzy brass I used for the horns. So there's that. And we'll go back to this here. Yeah, it has that common thread, gives them a little continuity. So yeah, I think it worked pretty well. Alright, so this is Tanned Shadow. We're going to use this on the skin of our little druidess here. Hopefully a lot better than I did last time, 20 some odd years ago. It was like when I painted this. Now that I've learned how to thin my paints a lot better than I knew how to do then, which was not at all. What was thinning paints? I have no idea. Jeez, this looks better already. Barely got a base coat on her now. Oh, that looks nice. she's wearing sandals. I think she's barefoot. Yep. So that looks better already, just in general, because I've learned how to thin my pants. My skin's not going to be all clumpy and crappy. And I've learned about highlights. What? Highlights? Holy crap, what are highlights? Okay, that's when two colors really love each other. We create a third little color called a highlight. I'm just noticing some fairly inconsistencies with this sculpt in itself. Wow. Oh well. 20-some-odd-year-old sculpt, I'm not going to complain too much about it. This is the Druid Stone by Reaper Miniatures. It's about 20-some-odd years old. It was sculpted by Sandra Garrity, based on a piece by Keith Parkinson. So there's our... Get back in focus there. It's got a really, really beautiful Celtic cross in the stone right here. I'm hoping to pick it out in like some darker colors so it stands out. Darker colors in the recesses, lighter colors in the highlights and such. Nolzur, yeah, this is, I mean, that's what the Slaad was Nolzur's, and I figured I would paint some other stuff too after I got that done, which it's pretty much done. I'm just waiting for the base for it to dry so I can dry brush that and get it out of here. Okay, so we got the skin done. Now we're going to use a little bit of... So this is one thing I thought was pretty cool. Instead of using a wash, because if I use a wash on this, it's going to just flow all the way down, right? It's just going to fall off the miniature for the most part. So I'm actually going to use a little bit of contrast Guillemot Flesh. This is going to act as a shader. It's going to stain the skin a little bit. It's going to darken it, but it's also going to get into the cracks and crevices of the figure to show me where those shadows are. And then we can go and kind of reestablish the base coat if we need to, and then do highlights or midtones and highlights and such. So I'm just going to take a brush full of this. The other cool thing about this stuff is that it dries pretty quick. And I don't think of this as a wash. I actually think of this as a stain. Kind of like when you're staining your deck, if you have a deck. If you're staining wood, that's what this kind of reminds me of. I'm just going to bring it down like so. This is also going to help get into the creases of the fingers too, so I can paint those correctly. And toes on her one foot here, because the other foot isn't showing. The nice thing about this too is that once it does dry, I can go back in and darken in a couple of other little spots if I need to. So now it's kind of got a nice, oh come on, reddish brown color going there. Let's see if we can get. There we go. I think for her robe I'm going to go with Rhinoxide. I know I should be painting all this in Reaper paints. Sorry. I have a bunch of Reaper paints, I just don't, there wasn't a brown color that I really liked. So we're going to go with a little Rhinoxide. It's like kind of a darker reddish brown. I just figured whatever brown works, right? Whatever is gonna, like I've got Reaper paints, I've got Citadel, I've got, oh, what are they called? Vallejo. I still have my old hobby Walmart paints from 20 some odd years ago. Because those are great for terrain. Sorry, I'm trying to keep it in the frame here. Been doing this for a year and a half and still can't figure it out. That's the other thing too. I went and on Prime Day, my buddy who has Amazon Prime got me a new 7-port USB hub. And then we're picking up another USB cable. So I'm going to try and hook my phone, use its camera actually on my ring light to shoot down this way, move my webcam off to a side so that I will have 3 cameras and you can see from all 3 angles what I'm doing. That's the plan. We'll see if I happen. Oh, yeah, that's frickin' mold lines, man. I feel you. I feel it. I know that pain, that anguish of mold lines. Especially if it's in a fold or something like that. Yeah, small. And I'm hoping that I'm hoping it works out. I'm really hoping that I can figure it out. I may have to have my friend come over and show me how to set it up. Cause I'm not computer savvy. I can probably figure it out, but if I could have somebody come over and show me, and then I'll go, oh, okay. Like I'm a hands-on learner. Like if I can do it, I'll figure it out faster. If you can show me a couple times, then I'm like, oh, okay, it goes like this, and done. But yeah, to initial setup, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why doesn't stuff work? Yeah, it really does. It helps me learn it, focus on it. Show it to me a couple times and let me get in and do it. Because if you're sitting there just doing it and not really explaining it, then I lose focus real quick. I just go, yep, nope, I got it, sure, and that's never a good thing. Once I start losing focus on a tasks that I'm supposed to be doing, yeah, good luck getting me back to that. So I am using this Rhinoxide on the loincloth here because there are some spots that are going to be not gold, but they're going to be like brassy bronze colored. There's like your necklace up here. Okay. So while we were doing that, that contrast paint has dried already. So now we can go back in with our tan skin here. Reestablish that. Especially on the leg here. Oh, this is the old one. I'm repainting it. This is it. Yeah, no, I didn't strip it. I actually just put some, because I didn't use, when I first started painting and I grabbed this, I didn't use primer. I didn't have any. I didn't have any brush on. I didn't have any spray, so I just painted over the metal, and it was really gloppy and really bad. I've taken some of the stuff out, but I actually just put a nice coat of primer over the top of the old paint, and it's already painting up much better than it did before. It's a lot smoother. I kind of did this on a whim. I just kind of grabbed it and went, I want to repaint this. Um, Either that or I would have stripped it. I would have thrown it in some acetone and completely redone it. Which, if this doesn't turn out great, I might still do. Yeah, there is a little bit of bluish green underneath that. I wish I still had the box art for this. It was really good. And number one, it had Parkinson's artwork on it. I think on the back, I think it was Ann Forster that painted it. It was just beautiful. Ooh, great question, Small. He asked they asked. Sorry, I don't know if you're male or female, or not. Nine, you know, as a someone I once followed stated, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Um, Over 20 years, I imagine you've painted a lot of stuff, but do you have a favorite genre or game? Um, I love fantasy stuff, so this is right up my alley here. I think that's probably my favorite. I mean, I love Star Wars. That's my favorite sci-fi. Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica were my two favorite sci-fi shows and movies growing up as a kid. Still are. Um, but the fantasy stuff, I mean, there's so much out there. Um, I've played just about every version of D&D, GURPS, Pathfinder. Um, Geez, as a kid, I was playing uh, Top Secret, which was an old spy game before Spycraft came out back in the late '90s, early 2000s. So kind of everything. I mean, I've got a ton of stuff that I've painted. I've done, um, just last year I did. Oh, I've got it sitting here. Because I'm dumb. I'm not a huge Transformers fan, but he was my favorite. I love Soundwave. Probably because he was a stereo. He was a boombox. Excuse me. So yeah, I loved Soundwave, and so when Nolzur's came out with Transformers minis, I picked him up because I had to, and painted him. And then a friend of my wife's, high school friend of my wife's, wanted Megatron, so I went and got that for him, and did that one. So yeah, those are. I mean, I'm a child of the '80s, guys. I'm gonna be 47 this year, and you know, GI Joe and Voltron and Star Wars, and I wasn't much of a He-Man fan, but He-Man and the Snorks and the Smurfs and all those great '80s cartoons, even late '70s cartoons. Like I remember watching Star Blazers, which was the American version of um, Battleship Yamato from Japan. Well, it's an old, we called it Japanimation back then, but it's an old anime. And the same with Voltron. Voltron was an anime. Those were my indoctrination into um, 80s cartoons. But yeah, I like a lot of stuff. I like a lot of stuff that a lot of people poo-poo right now. So it's like, oh, you still like Star Wars? Ew, some of the new stuff sucks. You know what though? I don't care. I got a coworker who loves the expanded universe stuff and will not watch any of the Disney stuff. And I said, "Wow, that's really too bad because I really enjoyed The Mandalorian. I had fun watching the Book of Boba Fett, and I loved Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I cannot. Oh, and the Clone Wars, Rebels, the Bad Batch is coming back. I can't wait to see season 2 of that. Ahsoka is coming. Andor's coming next month. Come on. This is like the best time to be alive for a Star Wars geek. Plus, we've got, and there's been a few D&D movies out there that have not been great. Um, but we have an actual, really official Dungeons and Dragons movie called Honor Among Thieves. It's coming out. I'm gonna give it a shot, and if it sucks, then it's gonna suck. But if it's at least fun, see, I go to movies to be entertained, not to have these giant, earth-shattering experiences, philosophical experiences or whatever. I go to like for a Star Wars movie. If there are lightsabers, there's the Force, there's ship battles and stuff blows up, I'm good. That's Star Wars. It's space opera. There is nothing more philosophical that needs to happen in a Star Wars movie or TV show for that matter for me. Now, I think with a television show, with it being a longer format than say 2 or 3 hours, if it's like a 6 to 12 episode story, then take your time, build up the characters, tell the story. But if you're going in and it's, hey, this is going to be an hour and a half, guys, just action pack it. Let's go. I'm looking forward to Skeleton Crew, because they're stating that it's supposed to be kind of Stranger Things but Star Wars, and it's this group of kids that get lost in space and they have to go roam around and maybe try to find their way home. I think that's cool. Let's go. Alright, so we're using a. Sorry, kind of like a tangent there. Using the tan skin now to start our mid-tone processes here. See, that now that small, that sounds like a pretty interesting anime. There's no tentacles. That's not something I'm interested in. It's not, that doesn't sound like that show that you're talking about. Sounds like something I could sit down with my wife and my daughter. My daughter's 22 now, by the way, and watch and not feel embarrassed to watch it. There isn't tentacle sex or anything, crazy like that. It sounds like an interesting story. There may have been some, but not in the way I mean. Gotcha. It's not. Yeah. Okay. I mean, the story doesn't have to be just for kids. Make it adult. That's fine. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that people think are for children, and it's actually meant to be more for 20 to 40 somethings, There are aliens, so, weird stuff. Oh my gosh, this looks better already. What happens when you repaint a 20-something-year-old figure after learning techniques you didn't have back then? Oh my gosh, my jaw's gonna hurt tomorrow. talking too much. I haven't talked this much all weekend. Not even kidding. Like, I got home on Friday, and I talk on the phone all day for my job because I take calls. I work for a DME company, and I take calls all day for people that need their wheelchairs repaired, mostly. Wheelchairs, walkers, standers. And not just like manual wheelchairs, but the big power wheelchairs, the mechanical ones, right? And there's only been 2 of us on the phones this week because one person's on medical leave and another person's on a much needed extended vacation, like good full 2.5 weeks, right? We've been the busiest we've ever been. Oh my gosh. So, yeah, I'm surprised I'm talking tonight, actually. I was like, oh, it's just going to be a chill stream, hang out, paint some. But I'm still dealing with Bell's palsy from last year. And every once in a while, the whole left side of my face just goes, you're just not working quite the way that you want to work right now. Alright. That looks so much better already. There's our base coat, our shade, our midtones. Alright, let's grab our tanned highlight here and we'll get the skin finished, hopefully. Yeah, if you can find it, I highly suggest picking it up. It is one of my favorites. Like I said, it's a 20-year-old figure. I don't remember how many were made. You might still be able to find it on Reaper. Otherwise, I would go to, I think it's Miniature Giant. Yeah, miniaturegiant.com. I think they're still around. And they tend to be able to get a lot of the out-of-production figures from Reaper. Like, if you can't get it straight from Reaper, go to them. But just to let you know, like, the body of the dragon is attached to the feet. Like, you've got to glue that on. And then I believe, yep, I have to glue her onto the base. And then this piece of rock was glued on here. So what I should have done is grab some green stuff and actually created a little bit more of a base around here. But, whatever. It's a fun figure, and it might be something I use in my D&D game. Alright, so here comes our tanned highlight. Yeah, mold lines suck. Sorry, those are the worst. yeah, some of the newer ones, like I really have been enjoying the Bones Black. I have not had an issue with mold lines from the Bones Black figures like I have with the original Bones, which number one were they're good for what they are. If you want a bunch of orcs or a bunch of goblins for your game, that is the way to do it. Character wise, not the best. Um, but I really like the Bones Black. I've got a handful of those. But yeah, the metal stuff, you're always going to have to deal with some kind of mold line somewhere. It's going to be in some inconceivable space where you're like, what? Oh, that's too bad. I guess, I mean, Kickstarters, they're trying to get stuff done. But let me see. I think I've got one. I can't see somewhere. Oh, so there's. Yeah, here we go. I'm just gonna open these because bugger it. So this is the Bones Black. Actually, that's pretty good. And they're, from what I can tell so far, like I haven't popped him open yet, but even looking at him through right here, I don't see any mold lines. I think he's just cast pretty well. Let's open him up. Let's open him up and find out. Just really, I really wanted those hireling figures, and I bought, I think, 2 sets of each. All the figures have mold lines and details. Oh, that's too bad. Oh, you don't think the hirelings are made from the mold? Probably not. They're probably regular bones. But this is the Bones Black material, and the only mold line I see, there's one right through here, which should be, like, it's not super noticeable. And there's one, like, right here. I can run my finger across it and feel it. It's right there. But other than that, it's a pretty crisp model. And I could probably take my hobby knife right now here. Let's see. And just... Yep, there it goes. Yep, that's gone. One little touch up there. Through here. Oh yeah, this is much better. It's tougher. It's not super bendy. So like this is. Here, I'll grab this one. This is one of the original Bones figures, right? It's less rubber. Like, look at that. Yeah, I can totally bend that. I can bend the arm. You know, these are great for conversion. So if I want to change that sword out, I can snip it right off. You know, put a different blade on there, maybe a tougher blade, maybe a metal blade, maybe I'll put a, probably wouldn't be able to, like, I love the metal version of her, because instead of holding this sword, she's holding a spear, and it's a really cool spear, but, I mean, I love the hilt of the blade. I just don't like the blade is, kind of, wimpy, and it's not as crisp and sharp as either a Bones Black or a Bones USA or a metal blade. Like, I really kind of want to take that right off and glue a metal blade on there. This, yeah, not bendy. This is like Games Workshop type hard plastic, and it's much better. It's got better detail to it. You can actually see the face back in there, even under the hat. Hey, the hat's got a little bit of a, just a little bit there. That's gone. Nope, not quite. Get a sharper knife, and that thing would be gone. There. But yeah, much harder plastic. The same with the Bones USA. Bones Black is a little bit harder plastic. This is still a hard plastic as well. But I like the fact that these are less expensive. This is Damer's Deveril the Wizard by Bobby Jackson. I love Bobby Jackson stuff, by the way. But yeah, this is still a hard plastic, not bendy, but still really, really nice detail. Yeah, I'm super glad they moved to a better material too, because I really like this. I can put I can, it's light. I can put it right onto my painting caps here, and yeah, I absolutely adore Bobby's style. I mean, look at that pouch. Look at the detail on that pouch. Not to mention, I'm looking through this Bones USA thing. There is not. There is one flaw, and it's right there. It's a little piece of flash. Done. There is not a mold line. There was one little piece of flash. You're good. You're golden. Like, and that's the other thing about these Bones. You can put primer on them, but you should be able to paint them right out of the box. Now, I would also give it a good wash. A little bit of water and soap, just to get the release agent off of it. But if you put a little bit of primer on this guy, you're good. And a couple hours later, you're going to have a figure that's going to look fantastic. This is a great wizard. Look at, he's holding a scroll. He's got 3 scrolls here. He's got this awesome pouch, another little, coin purse or something here, a short sword or a dagger. And look at this. Look at these great folds that you can do. I mean, you could, he left it so open for you to do any kind of freehand back in here, whether it be a material design or even just some borders or anything like that. It's wide open for you to do stuff on this figure. It's a great figure. Lovely wizard. Kind of a cool hat too. It's not the big pointed wizard's hat with the big wide brim. And he's out. He's reading his scroll. He's about ready to cast it off the scroll. That's got some cool movement and some cool story flavor to him. Just like this guy. I think this is the sheriff. What was it called? I lost the other packaging here. His freaking name. Irenborg Plano Map. Dreadmere Reeve. So yeah, he's a sheriff. And he's got some cool detail to him too. Hey, big pointy Gandalf wizard hats, always cool. But it's nice to have a little bit of a change up. Like, I dig this guy's hat. Kind of a cool, almost like a cavalier's hat. Got the big plume on here. He's got these cool, got this chain right through here. Probably looks like a pocket watch or something. Got a great staff, like his office staff. He's the reeve of the town, of the village. He's got a sash, wonderful coat with these great looking cuffs on it. And the base itself, like the base already has cobblestones. So you don't have to go and like dink around. If you want to, you could chop him off the base, but I wouldn't. I think he's just fine the way he is. Just like with the wizard here, he's got cobblestones on his base, so it's not like the what am I trying to think of? It's not like the old what do they call them, broccoli bases of the old Reaper stuff, where it was just like, you know, like this. The old broccoli bases. But then you've got like these are the sworn brothers of the Night's Watch. This is the captain from Game of Thrones, from the A Song of Ice and Fire figures from the Cool Meteor Knot game. And I've actually got that box set. I think I'm going to start painting those up as soon as I get done with oh my gosh, with the tree from Kingdom Death. I think I'll pop that open and start painting that. Now that I've got those two open, I might as well put some primer on them. I've still got some primer here. Let's put some primer on them. So it's a gray primer, so it's not going to change too much about what this guy looks like, but get some primer. Oh, big hair. Yeah, I probably won't play it. I might find somebody to try it out with. I know that my buddy Eric likes strategy games, so does my friend Greg. So we might play it if I learn the rules. But I'm more interested in some of the sculpts just for gaming purposes. I have a world semi-based on Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, where I'm like, these would be pretty cool to have. So I'm using a gray primer over a gray figure, so you're not going to see a whole lot here of change, but oh yeah, they'd be great for Frostgrave, absolutely. So he's all primed up, ready to go. Like, I'll let him dry. Um, there's a game store, I don't know, about 10 or so minutes away from me that has been having these box sets on sale for like $25. So almost every time I go in there, I end up picking one up. So there is our figure right out of the box. And we're just not even worried about the release agent because this is great. Great primer. I use the Stylorez airbrush primer, but I don't have an airbrush, so I just brush it on. I asked I can't remember his name. I think he's the guy that actually runs Badger Airbrush. Was at a convention and saw me there. I was like across the room from him, and he saw me painting some figures because I was there helping judge the painting competition. It was called the Renegade Open, and it was a 40K Age of well, at the time not Age of Sigmar, but 40K, the Batman game, Star Wars X-Wing, Star Wars. What was the other one? It was called. What was the other one with the ships? But they were small. What the heck was it called? Anyway, it was that and like a bunch and a couple others. I think A Song of Ice and Fire had just come out. Star Wars Legion. Yeah, it was X-Wing. Or sorry, Armada. Star Wars Armada. They had even smaller ships than X-Wing. But so that one's all primed up, ready to go. Gotta find some cool colors for him. Oh yeah, the really small ships. Yep. Yeah, when the X-wings were were like this size in X-wing, while the X-wings in Armada are like freaking 15 millimeter little tiny. Use a brush and dot, kind of a thing. I ended up painting. There were some 3D printed ships that a friend of mine had done and wanted me to paint them, and oh my gosh. So small. So very small. Alright, well, kind of back to her now that I've shown off a bunch of stuff here. Skin is done. Ooh, skin's done. Now we're gonna do. Let's get our base coat on the hair. We already did a base coat on the robes. We need to do a base coat on the top and her little loincloth there, which I think we'll do that. We'll do that real quick. We're gonna do some leather brown for that. That doesn't need a whole lot because that's tiny. But anyway, with the guy from Badger, he was like, "Oh, I see you're painting, a bunch of minis. Do you use primer?" I said, "Oh yeah, I've been using, spray-on primer, and I've been using Reaper's brush on." And he goes, "Oh, try this." And he handed me a box full of primer. All the Stylo-Res stuff, a bunch of Stylo-Res stuff. And I said, "Oh, thanks, how much?" He goes, "Oh, no, he says, you're a miniature painter, I want you to tell me what you think of it." Alright. Took it home, tried it out on a few figures, not going back to anything else. Probably my favorite primer I've ever used. About the only time that I ever use a spray-on primer. Number one, here in Minnesota, it's either stinking hot and humid out, which is not great for priming figures, or it's freezing. We get like 2 months of good weather to go out and do any kind of spray primer. Now, I will take advantage of that. If I'm working on something huge, during that time, I will go out and I will use a black or a gray spray primer. Most of the time, I'm working on stuff this size. I'm working downstairs in my basement. I don't have great ventilation. My wife doesn't like it that for me to spray anything inside the house. So this airbrush primer that you can, in a dropper bottle is wonderful. Because then I don't have to irritate the wife, I don't have to irritate my senses with any sprays, and it's just been really kind of a godsend. It's been great. I need to go online and buy some more gray primer. Gray and black is what I need. What sets it apart? That is a great question. It dries really quickly. Uh, I used a hair dryer tonight after I primed this just because I wanted to get painting on it. But it dries really quickly. The other property that it has to it is that it shrinks rather than just drying. It actually shrinks onto the figure so you don't lose any detail. So that's a big draw for me, especially on some of the smaller figures. Yes, like a gesso or gesso or gesso. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's it makes it one of my favorite um, primers to use. It's fantastic. It also comes in a boatload of colors. So not only do you get your whites, your blacks, your grays, but you also get like a blue gray, an olive green, an ebony flesh, kind of a brown red color. There's just a ton. There's a rosy pink. So you could almost use it as like a base tone too. Um, so this is the light flesh, so you could actually use this as a base coat and then do a wash over it, and then do your highlights or whatever. This is just a neutral primer. It's like a tan. I actually really like this one. This is the Oceanic Blue primer. I really like this, kind of like a blue-gray. This is, which one is this one? This is olive green. So if you're doing armies, you've already got your olive green. You can paint this on, do a couple of washes, then do your highlights with like Vallejo, model color or something like that. This is, what's it called? This is dull pink. I'm not sure what you'd use this for, but I have a bottle of it. It's going to give it kind of a pinkish tone to your figure probably, but maybe there's an area of pink that you want to do. That's the other cool thing about this. It's like you can prime different areas of the figure with this. Like if you just want to do a drop and then you're good. Like this one here is this is the red brown. I used this a lot when I was painting buildings. Yeah, pink is a good undercoat for yellow. It's also a good undercoat for if you want bright reds. This is their black. Like I don't have much of this left. It's almost gone. They also have a gloss black, and this is very glossy. It's a nice glossy black. For it, like if you were doing vehicles or armor or something like that, you could use this. Silver primer. I know that there's a few, I've seen a couple of large figure painters actually use a spray silver primer and then go over the top of that with a different primer or their base coats. But yeah, silver primer. Again, another good one for doing armor and such. Do I have anything else in here? I think that's it. Yeah, that's all the ones that I have currently. Oh no, I have an ebony. I think I have an ebony flush in here too. Is this it? Yep, ebony flush. But now I've become an ad for Steinelrose, but for Badger. All right, Badger. Where's my kickback? No, I'm kidding. I use stuff because it works. That's my deal. If it doesn't work, I'm not going to use it. I paint way too many minis, and other figures and vehicles and stuff like that I need stuff that works. Oh no, my tan leather all gone? Yikes, really? Oh jeez, yeah, that's scraping the bottom of the barrel there. Do I have any more? Leather brown. Leather white. Harvest brown. Oh, tan skin. Mostly brown. Oh no. Tan skin. I got all the tan skin. Why do I have so many tan skin? What's this? What's this? Woodland brown. No! Alright, here's what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. Got a little bit of water here. A little bit more. We're going to use up as much as we can. Just really mix that up. Oh, okay. We will not have to thin that because I've already put enough water in there. We will not have to thin this paint. Oh, it is good. Yeah, that's very watery. Alright. So this is tan leather. I'm putting it over our leather brown. Even though... Okay, so her top and her loincloth is going to be white, but I'm doing it as a warm white. So I'm using these light browns before I go with like a linen white to bring out the highlights here. I'm using this as our bases and midtones to create a more warm white color, almost a cream color, rather than a cold gray. This will also help me in doing shading and highlights too, because you'll be able to see the leather brown in the cracks and crevices and the folds, I guess I should say, of the loincloth. And then you'll see a little bit of the tanned leather, but especially like under her chest is going to be the leather brown. Up here is going to be the tanned leather, like so. Also on that strap there. so. Get my hand out of the way. Yeah, the small endeavors. There's a lot of different ways to paint leather. You get your brown leathers, black leathers, um, green leathers. Stuff like that, depending on what colors you're wanting. Blue is different. Like there's blue leather out there, but most of the time you're going to see lots of browns and blacks. Um, Brown for me, like I like doing stippling to create more texture in the leather, so it looks worn. Um, Especially if it's a well-worn piece like a belt or a piece of armor or something like that. And then hitting like the very edges. Do I have any leather? I don't. Really. Yeah, it's hard to see on those guys. Yeah, it's very hard to see on these guys. Because everything's so dark. A little hard to see maybe on the Slaad. And it's not necessarily leather either, but like you're gonna see here's your darker shadows, then your midtones, then your highlights are gonna be just right on the edges. And then you can keep going, like there's a light leather brown compared to a dark leather brown. And if I wanted to, I could add in like another, like a linen white or something like that to even brighten that up if I wanted to. And same with like the wraps. The wraps I just kept as snakebite leather, the contrast paint, but it's all about like I always say it's called the mini painter's mantra. It's darker shadows and deeper highlights. Thanks. Thank you. So this is linen white. I'm going to mix it into our tanned leather. I shouldn't have used that much, but that's okay. I'm going to mix it in. Because I want it to be... It's going to be hard to be a gradual build-up to white because of the area is so small. But I don't want it to just go brown, white. I want there to be a little bit more of a gradient here. So this is our mix of linen white and tanned brown. Come on. That's what that looks like. I notice there's a few little areas here that look like some folds, so I'm just going to try and highlight that a little bit. Excuse me. Alright, here's our linen white. Sorry, I feel a cough coming on. Excuse me, a little dry. That's that water. Okay. And now it's starting to look more white than brown. And it's all by using that gradient. So now I can use I'll use a little bit of Dragon White as my final highlight. And I don't need a whole lot. I didn't take a before pic. I might have it up on my Facebook page from like a zillion years ago. It didn't look great. Alright, and there's our Dragon White, our very final highlight. Just on the edges. Oh, come on. Get in the picture there. There we go. So there's her white top and her white loincloth. That is done. Woo-hoo. Moving along pretty good here. She has pretty dark brown hair, if I remember correctly, in the painting. So again, druid, lots of browns, earthy tones. So we're going to use a little muddy soil for her hair. Okay, that's a really nice dark brown. I like that a lot. I've used it before, mostly on the bases and stuff, because it's muddy soil, right? But I really like that as a hair color. So we were talking about like complementary colors and complementing and making it cohesive, right? So I'm going to take this same brown, and instead of doing a wash over her robe to darken it, I'm going to use this. So there's lots and lots of really great folds in her robe. So I'm going to take this color and I'm just going to put it into the creases of her robe. This is going to be my shading process. This thing's just getting in the way now. there's a lot of folds in the back here. Small, just to let you know, I am on every Sunday and Wednesday nights from 8 to 10. Normally, I'm running, going a little late tonight. It's 10:43 already, but that's my normal stream time. And that's Central Standard Time, because I'm in Minnesota. So I will be back on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And if you want to give me a follow, that'd be great. If you want to subscribe, you can do that as well. You can use if you've got Prime, you can do that. If you like what you're seeing, like what you're learning, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. Have a great night. I guess I shouldn't say sir. I don't know. I don't know if small endeavors is. I don't know what they are. Thank you, either way. Holy cow. We got Suka Mikasa has come in, Jankin' Around is in, Kitten Rescue's in, Lurks is in. Hey everybody. Oh, 0x2 is in. Hello. Alexis the Nexus. Hello, Alexis. So we're going to grab some Mornfang Brown here. We're going to work on our robes some more. got some brown on it. There's her robe. That's run oxide with a little bit of muddy soil in the folds, with some morn frame brown over the top. I am going to use one more brown, but it is almost 11 o'clock. Today I'll work tomorrow. So, let's see, I got 4 more minutes. Let me see what I can do with our Scrag brown here. Too much. Just going to hit the highest highlights here. highlights with a little bit of Scrag Brown, really making that brown pop out. Probably hit it with one more highlight. Okay, I've got some, what's it called here? Deathclaw Brown is probably what I'll use. But it is after 11 o'clock, folks. Thank you all so much for joining. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking with me for 3 hours here. And we'll do it again on Wednesday back here at 8 o'clock. Thank you again. And as always, happy painting, folks. Bye.